So to my surprise, Bambu Labs generously sent me the new P2S with no strings attached other than to post my impressions. But who are we kidding? You've already seen a million P2S reviews, so I thought I'd try something a bit different. Oh hey, I'm Mike, and this is my P2S kickoff. Instead of a cookie cutter impressions video, I thought I'd bring in an old friend to help commemorate the launch, and coincidentally, his name happens to be Launchy. And to satisfy Bambu's lawyers, sure, I'll sprinkle in a few thoughts on the P2S somewhere in here, I guess. So if you've never heard of Launchy, here's the story. I'd just spent weeks perfecting another model, but when I posted it, crickets. Meanwhile, low-effort posts were trending, and I figured I could also play that game. So, obviously, the answer was a self-launching trebuchet to enact my vengeance. What does that mean? Well, the idea is that you print it, and without you ever touching the thing, it just launches. That's because it's printed with most of its weight in a precarious position, barely sticking to the build plate. After the print finishes and the plate cools, the rocker tips over. Since the ball isn't attached to the cup, thanks to this clever thing I call a hole, it gets hurled directly at its target. Other than a dice rolling version I published a bit later, Launchy's been languishing with untapped potential. Well, until now. With my unexpected gift, it seemed like it was time to bring Launchy back for a good old-fashioned shootout. Literally. P1S versus P2S. Who will emerge victorious? On the red team, we have the reigning champ, Player 1, an absolute workhorse. On the blue team, the challenger, Player 2, eager to prove its mettle. Both contenders will simultaneously print a Launchy. The first to shoot and hit their opponent will be declared the winner, with all that entails. Okay, so what bearing does this shootout have on the quality of the printer? Honestly, pretty much nothing. The timing mostly comes down to luck, and a dozen random factors that affect how well the print sticks to the bed. It has little to do with which printer is better for normal models. Clearly based on the upgrades, I'll be switching my main printer to the P2S, regardless of who wins. So what's the point? It's two printers fighting. What else are you gonna watch? Alright, ready, set, go.
Well, this is awkward. They were supposed to do their opening stretches ahead of time. I guess we'll just watch. So Player 1 decides first to actually get started. Player 2 still has plenty of time to make up ground, but he should really think about moving along here. This feels just like a tortoise and hare situation. If you look closely, the target pattern Player 1's printing is actually Launchy's cup and ball. They print without touching each other, so the ball remains disconnected and can later be launched.
Finally, the hare gets started.
It's a tight race. Player 2's delayed start doesn't seem to have had much of an effect. Midway through, it's neck and neck. Both are making solid progress, but Player 1 appears to be very slightly ahead. Hey, who's that jerk in the background ruining the shot?
It's really heating up at this point. Both players are entering the final stage of the print, the solid rocker. That's the part that provides weight to launch the ball, and it's where Launchy's delicate balance is put to the test. Too much adhesion and Launchy never launches. Too little and the weight collapses the print early. It's a tenuous situation for sure. Oh no, I jinxed it! Disaster for Player 1 to fumble this late in the game. He gets to start over, but he better hope Player 2 stumbles in the last minute. He's got a lot of ground to catch up. Meanwhile, Player 2's making it look easy, finishing up his Launchy. And there we have it. The blue Launchy is complete. Let's watch as Player 2 lowers him into firing position. At this point, Player 1's only hope is that Player 2 overdid the adhesion. It's certainly possible for launch to be delayed by a new build plate. I've seen launches take as little as 45 minutes and as long as 12 hours, so it's quite a window. Player 1 is desperately trying to make up ground. I bet it's tough to concentrate with Player 2 glaring so menacingly. Player 1 isn't giving up, despite the intimidation tactics. Player 2's ready to end him at the drop of a hat, or the drop of a rocker thingy.
Hopefully it doesn't get to Player 1, because he can't afford another premature launch. Let's check in on him. Well, that was quite the montage. Looks like Coach has called a timeout to wash the build plate. Honestly, it seems pretty futile at this point. Player 2's had hours to summon his energy. This could be game over at any moment. It seems Player 1's ready to give it one more try. What's that? Well, this is certainly unconventional, but Player 1's opted for a uniform change in case red was the source of the problem. I don't know, seems like he's trying to shift blame. Anyway, the red's being substituted out for orange. Amazing that Player 1 was able to get this far. Honestly, Player 2 should be firing that ball any minute now.
Okay, he might want to start thinking about taking that shot. The suspense is thrilling, but victory's starting to look a little less certain.
I can't believe Player 2 is letting Player 1 get away with finishing his print. Maybe he feels pity and wants to give him a fighting chance. And Player 1 lowers his Launchy into position. Listen to that squeal of determination. Truly a well-oiled machine. Both Launchies are complete. It's been a crazy twist of events to get here, but here we are.
Both machines should be proud of reaching the pinnacle of princemanship, where very few ever make it. But sadly, only one can win. Will the P1S bring home the trophy while ineffectively wiping its nozzle on a clearly insufficient bit of plastic? Or will the student surpass the master, despite its questionable ventilation choices?
This is what you came for, folks. We've entered sudden death. Player 2's been mustering the will to launch for many hours now, but Player 1 might have an easier time, as we've seen much weaker adhesion on that side. Though maybe after the plate washing, the playing field's been equalized. Maybe not. Player 2 actually appears to have the high ground here. An interesting difference between the P1S and P2S's post-print G-code. Take that, serious review videos. You missed something. This is so exciting. Anything could happen. If ESPN and Street Fighter had a baby, it would look something like this. While we sit here watching and waiting, I might as well tell you about a new printer that Bambu hasn't yet announced. It's really interesting and unique, in that it's the first printer ever to be...
Player 1 launches! Direct hit! Unbelievable! Let's see that again. KO! Player 1 wins! What a comeback story! Player 2 does not look happy. A legend is born. What a match!
Alright, enough gratuitous violence. With that crushing, but meaningless defeat, I guess now's the right time for me to share my P2S impressions before the good folks at Bambu change their mind and take it back. So the P1S was my first printer ever, and it served me well. I later added an A1 Mini and this A1 for multitasking, and honestly, I found myself gravitating to it more than I expected. Maybe it's the automatic flow calibration or quick nozzle swap, but frankly, it's just more fun to use. The touchscreen makes it easy to reprint stuff, tweak a few settings, and actually tells me what went wrong, instead of displaying cryptic codes. And let's be honest, the completion jingle is absolutely delightful. That said, I still often use the P1S. I mostly print PLA and PET-G, so the enclosure isn't a factor, but the Core XY motion is better for tall, wobbly prints, and its camera provides clearer footage than the A1 with its sliding bed. The P1S also supports multiple AMS units, which in turn can handle more abrasive filaments. But now that full AMS support is coming to the A1, even those advantages are fading. So yeah, my reasons for favoring the P1S over the A1 were increasingly thin for my use cases. But with the P2S, I get the best of both worlds, plus a few nice surprises. A proper video feed, smarter error detection, and just a more polished feel overall. I don't have to prop the door for PLA, it's easier to clean, and yes, the light even comes on when I open it. Anyway, you can find full reviews elsewhere. These are just some things I appreciate. Oh, and it's got its own completion jingle too. Alright, so while it's easy to rave about something I got for free, I'll be the first to admit that I consider all of this nice to have. I'm the kind of guy who buys something and runs it into the ground before upgrading. My phone is 5 years old and my monitor is pushing 8. If I didn't need another printer, would I spend the money to upgrade my P1S to a P2S? Definitely not. But if I was in the market for a new Bambu printer, P2S is the sweet spot for me, a clear step up from the A1, which is not something that could be said about the dated P1S for folks like me who only print PLA and PET-G. Commitment complete. I should probably take a moment to thank Bambu for their generosity and for entrusting me sharing whatever this is. They had no clue how off the rails it would be, but seriously, thank you. And I'll be paying it forward by finding a new home for one of my other printers. If you want to print and fire your own Launchy, I'll post the link along with this video. In the meantime, I'll keep creating designs that are hopefully unlike anything else out there. Most of what I make are toys and optical illusions, you know, the important stuff. So assuming you survive your first Launchy launch, come find me on MakerWorld. That's where all my designs and experiments live. You can follow me there for updates. Until next time, thanks for watching.